Max do this, Jan, mixed. Right, now who remembers Max Miller? One person. No bother, John. Who remembers Max Miller? Yes! Otherwise known as a cheeky chap because some of his material in those days was considered a bit risque. Well, he's a funny thing. Now he is a funny thing. In fact, he's a funny man. He's Bocking's own Mr. John Page with his very own interpretation of the cheeky chappie himself, Mr. Max Miller.
You're saying to yourselves, why is he dressed like that? I tell you why I'm dressed like this. I'm a travelling salesman and I'm ready for bed. Anybody? Well, here we go with a little spot of fun for old and young without the slightest sign of vulgarity. And here's the first number tonight, a little number entitled, Last Night I Was in the Mood, Tonight I Must Get Some Sleep. I'm going to start the first part of this record with this number without any music at all. All clever stuff I'm giving tonight. All clever stuff in the cheeky chappy. Here we go then. When I was a lad, I was bicycle mad. I rode in between motor cars, and make no mistake, I could put on the brake without touching my handlebars. So I gave up hiking, went biking instead, to a girl on a bike. In the country, I said, let's have a ride on your bicycle. Let's have a ride on your bicycle. She was under a tree. I think that girl took a fancy to me. She said to me, and we both sat down. Now we want words to lie. I said, my dear, is there nobody here? Let's have a ride on your bike, all together now. Let's have a ride on your bicycle. Let's have a ride on your bike. She put my bicycle under a tree. I think that girl took a fancy to me. She said to me, and we both sat down. Now we want words to lie. I said, my dear, if there's nobody here, let's have a ride on your bike. Let's have a ride on your, let's have a ride on your bike. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that song is to give you an idea that I'm not a singer. I'm here to try and make you laugh. That's the idea anyway. And look, I'm on the road with you tonight. Look, the blue book and the white book. And you'll gather from this I've got two sorts of stories. Now, I'm going to be careful tonight. I'm going to be careful. You've got to be careful in Bocking. You've got to be careful. There you go. It says in the white book. There was a little girl who had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. When she was good, she was very, very good. And when she was bad, she was very, very popular. You see, you can't expect too much out of the white book. No. This is the book. This is where we all get it. I don't care though. I don't care. I've been before. I have. I can get the van out. I'm not walking this weather. White book again. It says in the white book, a mother of eight sat up late stitching up her husband's pyjamas. Then it says, see page 4 of Blue Book for answer. Here's the answer. A stitching time saves none. This one now, we're all getting it. Wicked lot tonight, wicked lot tonight. You're the kind of people that get me bad names. I'm on the Blue Book now. Jack and Jill went up the hill just like two cotton innits. Jill came down with half a crown, so it wasn't up there 2 seconds. Mary had a little bear, to which she was so kind. I've often seen her bear in front, but I've never seen her bear. I'll get on with the next one. Adam and Eve in the garden dwelt. They were so happy and jolly. I wonder how they would have felt if all the leaves had been gone. Now, here's a funny thing, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is a funny thing. I went home the other night. There's a funny thing. You know I must be the best husband in the world. I keep going home. I went through the back way, through the kitchen, into the front room. There's a fella standing there, not a stitch on. He hasn't got a stitch on. Can you imagine that, lady? How's your memory go? I called the wife in. I said, who's this? She said, don't lose your temper, Miller. She said, don't go raving mad. I said, I'm only asking a fair question. I said, who is it? She said, he's a nudist and he's coming to use the phone. She said, I get very lonely when you're away, Maxie, very lonely indeed. She said, only the other night, she said, a burglar broke in. I said, did he get anything? She said, yes, I thought it was you. I was courting my wife for 20 years before I married her. And I went round to see her father and I said, listen old man, I've been courting your daughter for 20 years. He said, so what? I said, well, I want to marry her. He said, thank God for that. He said, I thought you wanted a pension. And I'll never forget our wedding day, When we got to the church, someone tied an old pair of shoes on the back of the car. And we couldn't find her father. He was in the car trying on. She fell off her bike the other day, right outside the house. So I went up to see her, she hurt herself, and there she was, lying in the road laughing. Got the handlebars in her mouth. My wife's a very suspicious woman, If she finds a hair on my coat, I've got to go round the stable and show her the horse. I was out all one night looking for a ginger horse. Who was that blonde you were talking to the other day in Bocking Church Street? Was it blonde in Bocking Church Street? I said, oh, nobody really. I said, she was going to the dogs and I was showing her the way. I took my wife to the hotel last week in Bournemouth, and when we got there, then the manager said, we're full up. So I said, but you must have a room somewhere. He said, well, you can have the bridal suite. I said, the bridal suite? I said, you've been married 40 years. He said, but you can have the ballroom, but you don't have to. Here's one you may have heard on your mother's knee or some other local. A little on the long and spoken. I like the girl to do, I like the girl to go. I hate the girl who says she will and then she says she won't. But the girl I like the best of all, and I think you'll say I'm right, is the girl who says she never does, and she looks as if she's here. Not bad tonight, is it? Not bad tonight. This is all continental stuff I'm giving you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. All continental. Don't laugh, just charm, that's it. Now, a few years ago, I did a show in the north of England. I went out looking for rooms. I couldn't find a room anywhere. So I went to this house and I knocked on the door, and the lady came to the door and she said, yes. I said, wait a minute, I haven't asked you yet. She said, do you want food? I said, why, is there anything else? I said, I was wondering if you could accommodate me. I put up. I said, can't you squeeze me in the back room? She said, I could, but I haven't got time now. She said, it's 30 shillings all in and I don't want any children. I'm not married, love. I said, I'm not married. I said, I've always been about children. She said, I'll tell you what, she said, you can sleep with baby if you like. I said, sleep with baby? I said, no, I can walk about all night and get wet through. Early in the morning, I took the sofa in the front room, that cost me £1. The early hours of the morning, this beautiful blonde came in with a cup of tea. And I said, who are you? She said, I'm baby. I said, who are you? I said, I'm the mug who slept on the couch.